What's up guys, this is Anime Crossover. I'm back with another episode of What of Naruto with the King of Fighters Part 4, and if you did enjoy this video, give this video a like, and if you're new to my channel and like my content, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more crossover fictions with a twist. Now let's begin this new video.
Chapter 11. He became so enraged by the intensely sexual nature of the feeding process that he had to turn on the seal to overwhelm his body with pain in order to get his mind clear. Without the seal, Naruto would have assaulted Eliza or another person to sat his intense lust. "I want you to adore me harder. Naruto, make this agony go away." Naruto experienced lust and agony, which caused him to experience a mental flash. He suddenly had a recollection that shouldn't have been there. Although he couldn't identify the lady, he could tell that she was stunning and that the two of them had a special connection. She had a very toned figure with the ideal shape, a big ass, and a large bust. Despite not being able to see her face, Naruto could tell she was very attractive. She had long blonde hair, as evidenced by the golden hair he also noticed. What took place? Eliza questioned as she observed that Naruto lost focus after feeling lust-filled. "Please give me a moment to collect my ideas." While taking a break, Naruto pondered these images. The result lacked any merit. "I am lacking a significant portion of my memories." This indicated to me that I had made the person my lover and solidified our connection. It was who? Who among the females I know had such a body, or was she a resident of another town? It cannot be Ino because she does not have a physique like this, and Samui is the only other blonde I am aware of. Since she has short hair, that would also make no sense, but it's conceivable that somehow we ended up together and she grew her hair. Damn. I detest this sensation. Why are my recollections gone? What else am I forgetting? After this assignment with the rogue puppeteer, what actually transpired? I require the assistance of someone who can unlock the memory protection. It doesn't matter if it's a safety lock from my own intuition or another source. I need to know the whole image. Eliza, do you know anybody who has memory access? Turning around, Naruto inquired with serious eyes. Eliza could tell he wanted to know something right then and there from the expression on his face, which was very obvious. "If you want someone to assist you unlock memories, I can do it without much difficulty if you let me. One of our species' fundamental skills is the ability of thought." Eliza responded as she regarded him with curiosity. The end of the A lot of times in A. Because of his blood, he was someone she desired by her side. Although they shared a trait and she thought he was intriguing, their relationship hadn't yet developed into friendship. Given that this was a delicate topic, Naruto hesitated as he looked at Eliza. If he gave her access, she might wind up playing with his thoughts. He had no fear whatsoever about seeing his recollections. "Do you not believe in me?" Eliza grinned as she observed his reasoning. Only a fool would have jumped into it without giving it any consideration. "Do it. I'm curious to learn what's going on inside my head." After taking a breath, Naruto nodded and gave her a determined gaze. This was too significant to overlook. Eliza had no need to play with his psyche because she already had his blood, which she needed. She also realized that his chakra, which was this pure gold color due to his personality, was what made his blood taste so delicious. It would alter if she played around. It would lose all color and become blank if he transformed into a puppet, while turning malevolent would make it ominous and repulsive. The strength of a person's personality and their connection to their chakra were indicated by their chakra hue. It revealed the type of individual you were dealing with. Although a dark hue doesn't necessarily indicate evil, it can indicate pessimism. It was the hue that symbolized Sasuke and revealed how gloomy and introspective his thoughts were. Naruto, on the other hand, had golden chakra, displaying his outgoing demeanor and his willingness to be merciful. However, because not everyone had a strong link to their chakra and their personality hadn't melded with it, it wasn't very common. Most people displayed the light blue hue by default, though you rarely saw it because no one would waste their chakra by not using a jutsu instead. This hue could only be seen by Byakugan, Sharingan, and strong sensors. Moving on, Eliza was taken aback by his selection. She had anticipated him delaying this topic for a week or a month. He had determined that she had no reason to mess with him because she could tell from his actions that he was cautious and had thought things through. Even with that in mind, it would be insane to put your trust in someone you only encountered yesterday. Even if you had taken the rational course, how could he simply trust someone so readily? She was interested in finding out the solution to this. It was fascinating. "Sit back and unwind. I'll help you find out the answers." Eliza instructed him to settle down on the roof in a relaxed position for meditation before she took a seat behind him. A magical circle for protection as well as Naruto's clones who were standing guard while invisible were dispersed with a snap of her finger. When Eliza put her palm on his head, 2 spinning magical circles appeared on her hands. Naruto didn't have to wait very long because his internal stream of recollections immediately began. Eliza discovered the solution. Naruto trusted his gut feeling about people and thought the knowledge was too valuable to delay. Naruto's visage was marred by rage and sadness even though she was pleased with the response. He became aware of all the memories and realized that a female had blocked them so he would have time to prepare for them. He had lost the battle against pain, but she had given him another shot at life. She promised to find him shortly. It served as the cost of the opportunity. He should keep in mind that she was his. Naruto learned the things he had forgotten after terminating the contract with the unknown female who wanted to own him. Jiraiya had been killed by pain while on an assignment. Tsunade and Naruto both felt terrible. Both individuals found solace in one another's companionship that they somehow wound up sharing a bed to stay warm. It's been a while since I've had a chance to do that. Tsunade loved Naruto dearly and regarded him as a younger sibling figure, but after Jiraiya's passing, he was the only person left standing next to Shizune, and she feared for his life. She was a strong, self-assured lady, but time had repeatedly crushed her spirit. Tragedies were happening everywhere, but when Naruto awoke from his despair and vowed to show her a happy world, he banished all that gloom. Due to his body's high potency, Tsunade's genetic makeup was impacted, her blood was awakened, and she became physically youthful and fertile. His Yang chakra was so powerful that it would knock any woman out on the first attempt. Yang chakra stood for light and vitality. Mokuton was not awakened by Tsunade in any way, but her life force and chakra reserves both grew. Her present age of 50 was nothing because Senju and Uzumaki with awakened blood have long lives compared to other people and could live up to 200. He had formed bonds with Hinata and Ino as well over time, so she wasn't the only one. He was attached to all of these females, and Tsunade was carrying his fetus. When pain arrived for him, Naruto trained harder than ever, soaking up all the knowledge he could, and perfecting the Sage Mode, but it was insufficient. He tried his best, but his efforts were insufficient to halt the battle from starting as Konoha was being destroyed. He could have won with one more step, but pain stabbed him with those chakra receivers, blocking all of his points because his Sage Mode couldn't last long enough for the battle. He took great care to ensure that not even the Kyuubi's energy leaked. By the time Naruto was finished with him, he was a doll. The only thing that made Naruto's actions fortunate was that he used his clones to protect some of his loved ones and the world from the destruction. He was taken away by pain, and the Jubi began to rouse. As he had been doped with the strongest substance, Naruto was incapable of putting up any fight. His life was about to end at that point, but a girl suddenly appeared. He couldn't see her, but she informed him that she was giving him another shot at life. She yearned for him to return, however, because she knew that if he remained in his own realm, he would be killed for being a thorn. Because of the time disparity, you have 2 years before things start to go wrong. She threw him through a portal from the location where Pain had buried his corpse without letting him know about anyone else. It was a lot to process, and he felt more pressure because his world was in greater turmoil than usual. His family's condition was unclear. He had no clue whether they had made it or not. How were they doing? But even if they did live, the world was too hostile, and they would almost certainly engage in hazardous combat. He had to return home. We can talk later if you need more time. Naruto relaxed his heart by looking up from the ground and opening his tight hand. They're fine. The situation is stable. Till I return, they can look for themselves. The girl granted me this opportunity, and she wouldn't be so heartless as to allow my family to perish. Naruto glanced at Eliza with such thoughts running through his head to help him concentrate. Tell me about the individuals who can assist me in crossing realms. He was in agony and stressed, and Eliza could tell. He required some quiet time to unwind. First, you need to exercise caution around the girl you encountered. Take your time or I'll have to stop you because she was not someone you should enrage and because the people I'm about to name are stronger than both of us. I don't want the person I've selected to be my blood carrier to die. Understood? As her palm touched his face, Eliza said in a soothing voice. Just let me know who they are and how strong they are so I can ready for them, Eliza. I won't get myself. Naruto answered in a firm voice, his usual light-hearted features absent. I pray you honor those commitments. There are currently 3 organizations that can support your endeavor. The 8-headed immortal serpent known as Orochi, which was imprisoned by the 3 royal clans, is the first. It was once the balancing factor between people and environment. Orochi served as the protector of nature and was endowed with many of its abilities. As more people joined its cause, a clan ultimately developed. But as the population of humanity increased, the natural order started to break down. That caused him to mutate into a beast who wished to wipe out humanity. He is the embodiment of nature's anger and has control over all the elements. It's a good idea to have a backup plan in place in case the main plan fails. The simplest of them all should be this one. But you'll need to open him up first, endangering everyone.
Next, Hehe, good, the person who might truly assist you comes in second. He is the underworld's king, Belial Ainsland. He is the only supernatural being of S+ level from Makai. He cares about the people who work for him and has never used his influence for evil. Because he views Makai as an outgrowth of himself, he has never wished to rule others with an iron fist. He stands over 656 feet, 200 meters, tall and has 4 limbs and 4 eyes, 2 of which are on the palms of his hands.
He loves his people in his world, but since you are an outsider, how the encounter turns out will rely on you. However, in order to ensure your survival, you must become very powerful, as this man is capable of wiping out the entire nation with a single strike. How are you feeling right now? No, my goal is much higher than this level, so continue. Good, because the last one is the worst. His name is Verse, and he represents all of the world's evil. It only wants the world to be completely dark because it survives on suffering and the demise of values. This one has been having an impact on this planet for centuries even though no one knows how to contact him because he lives in another dimension. His strength is unknown, but considering that he stands for the dark side of humanity, it should be enormous. All of them that I am aware of are listed above, and I advise choosing Orochi or Lord Belial over the unidentified being. 2. When told about such monsters that most people wouldn't even consider confronting, he exhibited neither fear nor hesitation. You don't mind if I assault your king, right? Eliza was from Makai and was probably an aristocrat, so Naruto questioned. It's not like you're going to murder him, is it? A battle should persuade him that you are worthy because you need him to be living. Or you could go around him by seducing his daughter. When Naruto heard those words, he briefly halted. Maybe I can persuade the daughter to assist me. Do you have any information about his daughter? Haha, that's what I anticipated, and it's a good response, but I don't know anything about his offspring because I haven't been in Makai for the past 600 years. While I was there, Lord Belial did not have a child, but we can easily discover information about evil beings like me. Look for tales on blood-sucking, werewolves, or succubae. They can provide information to us. However, if they are in the human realm, they are either very powerful or just happened to land here. Since my route home was wrecked long ago, I am unable to return. Eliza spoke as she moved past him. She was now relishing life because she actually felt energized and vibrant. I'll look into it, and will you be of any assistance? Since he had to travel to Makai for Belial, Naruto remarked that he would have to find out this knowledge anyhow. Of course I'll assist you. I don't want you to become hopeless and lost because that will taint the experience. Thanks Eliza, I owe you one, and sorry, but I need to go out alone for a while, said Naruto as he gave Eliza a small grin. Don't take too long. I'll be waiting for you. With a right, Naruto nodded and used his change jutsu to fly away. Eliza watched him walk away and then decided to go for a stroll and take in the sights of this new world. It had been a while since she had actually taken action. She had been born in the illustrious Gremory family, one of Makai's most powerful houses, 1,500 years prior. She was born with great ability, but because she wasn't the head's daughter, no one noticed it. Eliza was not the successor to the family but rather one of the family members' daughter. When her abilities began to emerge and develop, the family became tense. People began debating the heir's value, which sparked assassination attempts and, eventually, a full-fledged conflict between two factions. One group supported the clan heir while another wanted Eliza to be the new heir because of her rising influence. There was no denying it. She did not give her permission for any of this. She genuinely didn't want any of it. She escaped from Makai in this pointless fight because they were only trying to impose their own beliefs and ideals on her. She was weary of her own world because she had several near-death experiences that were unnecessary. When she finally arrived in this realm, she hurriedly destroyed the artifact and didn't understand that doing so was costing her power. She required food every single day, just like people do. She was energized and her needs were met by dark energy in Makai, but in this world there was no such entity, so she needed blood. She slowly began losing energy because the blood of frail humans was insufficient. She waited for the humans to become more powerful after seeing the martial artist, and that is how she ended up falling asleep for so long. Fortunately, she was rewarded for her perseverance and discovered her source of sustenance. It would be so much simpler to just catch him and suck whenever she needed, but Eliza had discovered that flavor varied depending on the source's emotions. And now it appeared that they were somehow interacting. Perhaps the blood is too intoxicating and is having an effect on my thinking. Eliza walked the streets of Tokyo with a smirk on her face, causing people to move over just by her existence. Demon, herself Shishishiware Fingitingates getting your first Latouristi back at Ruer, Mier Tech Imperatrab Shentru Mont Septvig Drawing Trag Eliza said as she turned to face the person who was in her way. Iori Yagami, one of Japan's most formidable combatants, stood in her way. His clan's history was tragic, and its route, which begins with birth, was paved with death at every turn. The insignia of Orochi started to deteriorate 660 years ago. The three tribes made the choice to relocate its vessel. One of the Hakeshu, warriors of Orochi, murdered the wife of the Yasukani leader in an effort to undermine their unity. The murderer then confronted the Yasukani leader while wearing a disguise and revealed that the Kusanagi clan was to blame, claiming that it was atonement for allowing the seal to deteriorate. The body of his wife was discovered in the Kusanagi homeland, which only served to fuel the flames further. Angered by the revelation, the Yasukani made a blood pact with Orochi to acquire the necessary means for revenge. The Yasukani changed their name to the Yagami line after learning the forbidden technique Forbidden Method 1211, 8 Maidens. The once red flames of the Yagami have a bluish tinge as a result of the Orochi's curse. Additionally, the curse makes every heir expire early and every mother pass away while giving birth. Kyo Kusanagi's enduring foe was Iori Yagami. He was the descendant of one of the three clans that, 1,800 years ago, sealed the mythical snake entity known as Orochi. His family used pyrokinetic abilities. With assistance from the Kusanagi and Yada clans and the aid of three antiquated relics, they maintained the seal over Orochi. His family's heirloom was the Yasukani jewel, which he placed on the back of his jacket. His family crest was a crescent moon. The passion of his life, who had passed away by his hands, had also given him a simple silver ring, which he wore on his left middle finger. Flame of the End was his real moniker. Iori was a somber, direct, and unpleasant person. He only showed interest in achieving outcomes that appealed to him, not in winning allies or enemies. Although he may have the appearance of lacking compassion or empathy, he wasn't hostile or malicious outside of battle. Being frequently tormented by an Orochi identity that lived inside of him, which ridiculed and despised him as its master, caused him to develop this type of personality. Iori has a tendency to be sympathetic toward others, but his Orochi persona frequently poses a danger to seize control and hurt them. Iori tries to ignore it until it enrages him and he snaps physically, as he typically does violently. He occasionally appeared to be confused about which identity was really his and experienced a minor identity crisis. This character flaw accounts for his dislike of social interaction and his decision to live alone. He still feels proud of his humanity and will not, under any conditions, allow himself to pass away. Iori has an aggressive and sadistic personality, but he still upholds his own moral principles and wouldn't be despicable enough to enjoy tormenting the helpless. Iori doesn't really worry about his responsibilities to his family or his long-standing family conflict. Iori, however, won't back down from the task of resealing the Orochi seal if it is threatened. He frequently makes Kyo so proud of himself that he reluctantly gathers the three sacred treasures. Iori can't remember why he despises Kyo, but he always seems to want to fight whenever they cross paths. Iori just seems to have an innate dislike for him, much like his competitor. Regardless of how much he professes to want to end Kyo's life, Iori really only wants to maintain his own rivalry with Kyo for amusement purposes. A truly tragic young man, he killed the one he adored the most with his own hands. He has partners after that, but they are only there to pass the time. He had received a second invitation to the KOF, and two ladies who had angered him had come as well. After nearly killing them, he relented and made them his slaves. He was intelligent, and he understood that they needed something from him. Even though he wasn't particularly interested in fighting, there was a reason why they wanted him to participate. However, Kyo's presence motivated him to do so. He had been killing time lately with his band, playing music, and occasionally witnessing or getting into fights when he ran into Naruto. Naruto had very high reserves and was something novel, which piqued his interest. Even though he wasn't a battle maniac, he still enjoyed a good conflict. He thought about confronting him after watching the videos, but instead he encountered a demonic force. He belonged to a clan that battled against and exterminated such influences. It was his responsibility to eradicate such repugnant beings, and the mention of Orochi's servant made his anger boil. A filthy creature like you deserves pain, but I was going to kill you without any suffering. Iori muttered icily, and the people fled due to his desire for blood. When he noticed that the people were leaving, purple flames appeared in his palm, and he waved his hand at Eliza while sending a flame wave. You won't survive this location if you keep acting so foolishly, you should know that. His attack was stopped by Eliza with a wave of her palm. The fires weren't intense enough to harm her body in any way. "You bitch. Act like a cherry blossom and disperse." Iori continued to hurl flame waves at her in an effort to determine her stamina and speed. After the third, she moved as the flames grew stronger. He spun around with his claws open and flames released, creating a flame twister, as Iori had prophesied she would pursue him. Eliza was about to assault him when she saw him make a move, which caused her to alter her course and tackle him slidingly while his legs were still open. She typically engaged in hand-to-hand fighting without using any demonic energy due to her habit of conserving energy. Iori, who was a skilled fighter and had expertise in deathmatches, didn't resist when her legs struck him and instead performed a backflip. Eliza pushed against the ground while her hand was shifted to the side as he threw flames below him. She landed without incident and realized that her opponent wasn't particularly evil. Although he wasn't as powerful as Naruto, he was still adequate. As a result of Orochi's curse, she could see that he was behaving erratically in response to her presence. Because Orochi is the world's will materialized, he will never put up with outside influences like corrupting spirits. Eliza emerged in front of Iori too quickly for him, pushing against the ground, and kicked him in the face. He had barely managed to put up his flames in front of the kick to lessen the effect when the force sent him flying across the street. Eliza continued to run alongside him as she booted him in the sides, sending him flying as he this time deflected the blow with his hands. He could now declare himself to be raped. She was so powerful that he was reminded of Rugal and how that person could only be vanquished by working together. "I'm unable to sprint." Iori shrieked as he slashed down at Eliza as she charged toward him like a rocket as his other side criticized his skills. Eliza's foot was coated in demonic energy, but the fierce flames on his claw that could instantly melt the toughest metal. Iori could feel his bones crumbling, but he hung on and grabbed her foot, saying, "Now suffer and die." Iori unleashed all of his flames onto Eliza and covered her entire body while grinning madly. "Not bad, but regrettably insufficient. You ought to have fled when I gave you the opportunity. Go to bed now," Eliza said in a serene voice despite the fact that her clothing had also been burned. Eliza caught his face and launched herself toward the earth using her momentum. Mature and Vice screamed, "Young master," and moved swiftly to stop her from slamming her head into the ground with that dark energy. Mature accelerated and arrived before they collided using her light-based power. While Vice covered the landing site with her power of darkness, she unleashed a number of cutting attacks at Eliza. Eliza threw Iori at Mature after realizing that things were growing uncomfortable and Mature easily avoided the blows. She was not a conflict avoidance type and wasn't bloodthirsty. Iori observed their efforts and bit his tongue in irritation as he shielded his body with ki to protect himself from Mature's attacks. Iori was about to slam her into the ground when she managed to balance them out and catch him, but instead of attacking, he simply escaped her grasp and stood up. "You're fortunate that your pals showed up. Otherwise, you might have fallen into eternal sleep. Fighting is a loss of my energy in my opinion, so I'll let you go. Regarding your obligation to delete me, you should disregard it because nobody is interested in me. My partner provides for my meal, so I don't need to murder people or create trouble. Now, I trust you took something away from this. The next time, I won't show mercy and will use all of my power to murder you." Eliza muttered something while releasing her energy into the area, causing the earth to tremble. The fighters instinctively took a step back because they knew it was a deadly adversary. "Remember me when you look at the moon. I don't like to lose, but I will take your words for the time being. It doesn't matter that you're a girl. I will still win." Iori looked at Eliza while licking his bloodied lips, and observed her sneer at him. "Let's go, Mature," to Vice. Iori turned around and tossed his red jacket in the trash because it was no longer wearable. Fortunately, the fighting had not become too destructive and had only devastated a small portion of the streets. The fires had also caused the area around them to melt, but fortunately it hadn't spread because Eliza didn't want that to happen. Flames made her very angry. "I really detest individuals like him." Eliza sighed and chose to continue on her journey, leaving the area of conflict as the administrators started to fix it. Naruto walked blindly above the buildings, not paying attention to his surroundings as he was preoccupied with thoughts of his house and his intended victim. Naruto would often go for treks when he needed to reflect in depth on his problems. He missed the times when Jiraiya would support him and be there. He knew that will never happen now that he had his memories returned. And right now, he also missed the company of his pals and girls. His secure haven had been invaded by loneliness, and he felt his heart grow heavy. It was the one thing he most despised and dreaded. He feared what they might encounter right now. Even if he could return home at all, he wasn't sure. What Eliza said was speculative, as was what she said about the unidentified female. His mind was spinning from all the problems, and all he wanted to do was sleep and rest. I am Naruto Uzumaki, and I will never give up. Sloth is the behavior of the feeble. I will never be able to choose it. When I took that pledge, I was aware of what I was entering. How am I able to break my pledge so easily? Keep your head up, nothing can go awry. I can do no wrong. The way I need to go is to practice and get stronger. I certainly need people to follow me right now. I require strong individuals to stand by my side and combat any danger from the opposition. Naruto's head struck the structure he was on, cracking the wall in the process. Although he wasn't hurt, the collision gave him more clarity. He was able to control his emotions and rediscover his course at last. Naruto looked around and realized that due to the strong ki presence present, he had unintentionally entered another battle. He recognized the combatants present and even spotted Zangief among the onlookers. A large crowd gathered to witness fights between fighters beyond the realm of mortal combat in an abandoned parking lot that was about to be demolished. Large screens were set up for the crowd's safety, and drones were used to record the escalating fight that was taking place throughout the entire parking lot. Raw, from the third story, a man with a muscular build and a jaguar mask drove his adversary into the ground, burying the neck deeply. In normal conditions, it would have seemed impossible for the defeated opponent to survive, but since this was a Muram Association run event, they had healers on hand for just such a situation, and all of the fighters present had some level of proficiency with ki. This was no contest for the feeble-minded. After witnessing his opponent being defeated, the jaguar backed up slowly. For the kids, Jaguar, Jaguar, and Jaguar. The audience clapped for the wrestler wearing a jaguar mask as he responded to their cries by raising his hand toward them. Jaguar was a Mexican wrestler who supported orphans all over the globe and who never fought without a mask. He was a well-known fighter who had competed in the Mishima Corporation competition and gained worldwide recognition for his prowess. He was renowned for his generosity as well, and he used his enthusiasm to support Mexican children. It's been a while since I've done this, but I'm going to do it again. He was severely injured during one of his battles and passed out in front of a convent. He was saved from death by the Marquez priests who brought him in. After getting better, Jaguar decided to start over because he had made a mistake. He gave up his former fighting methods and became a priest. He then transformed into a man on a mission, dreaming of creating a home for street kids in order to prevent them from turning into the same kind of fighters he once was. Jaguar was effective in creating an orphanage, but money was limited. To raise money for the orphanage, Jaguar competed in wrestling matches while hiding his identity by donning his now iconic Jaguar mask, earning the title Beast Priest. At this point, he also caught the eye of Armor King, a member of a tag team in professional wrestling who would go on to become his eventual adversary. Jaguar discovered the King of Iron Fist tournament, a mixed martial arts competition with a sizable cash reward, as he persisted in his battle to support the orphanage. Jaguar joined the competition after seizing the chance. Armor King joined the competition after discovering his rival was taking part and seeing him there. Jaguar prevailed over Armor King in their tournament encounter, while Armor King was compelled to leave due to an eye injury. Jaguar eventually finished third in the competition, earning enough money from the prize money to support the operation of the orphanage as he grew closer to Armor King and became a sparring companion. Jaguar finally felt the pressure release after accepting his passion for fighting as a part of his life and seeing his opponent during the competition. He was also fortunate that the fighting system had been finished, allowing them to be paid well for their battles. These fights were beyond the capabilities of humanity, but humans continued to enjoy the frantic rush of dangerous combat. Everyone was encouraged to grow stronger and more proficient in order to advance. Even though Jaguar didn't place in the top 10, he was still very well recognized, and none of the Mad Gear could defeat him in a one-on-one contest. He was a big guy, 190 centimeters tall, with a broad chest and a muscular build. He was dressed in tight blue pants and the mask. Everyone could see his upper torso, including his tan skin. Jaguar came to a halt and turned to face the second floor, where he noticed a green flash that crashed into its adversary and fell to the ground while dripping with electricity. When he heard the silence and the sound of bones fracturing, he immediately thought of Blanca. A young woman in skimpy wrestling gear broke her opponent's back and dropped him like he was nothing, her sparkling eyes gleaming with a cheery demeanor. Mika, she looked more mature than when I last saw her. Is it the Zangief training? Before his next battle, the king retired to his tent and gave it some thought. 4 opponents caught Naruto's attention while he was watching the fights from a distance, the others were too weak. Naruto made the decision to get involved and use this battle to boost his reputation and decompress. His mood will improve after a battle because he felt alive during one. Let's enjoy ourselves. As he pushed against the air and leapt towards the battlefield, Naruto yelled. What have we got here? Does this stranger on the fighting platform think he can defeat all of our competitors, or is he simply insane? The crowd erupted in excitement as the announcer continued as Naruto touched down on the top level because they thought things were about to get even crazier. Naruto Uzumaki is here. What is the rising star's strategy for today, having appeared out of nowhere? Come at me, I'll battle everyone here. As he stretched out his body so that everyone could see him plainly on the screen, Naruto signaled his attention. Naruto stood with a confident expression while sporting a black shirt over his chainmail and orange trousers. The audience yelled for them to start fighting, and the organizers agreed because they wanted to learn more about his strength. The participants may now take down the intruder for a bonus reward because the participants have spoken. When he heard those words, Naruto grinned and decided to go slowly because his skill-related recollections had returned. His power had immediately increased, and if he chose, he could destroy the city in a single action. He no longer believed that even Akuma would present a task for him, and he only needed to double it before the next 2 years. Let's see how good I am fighting against skilled fighters while restrained. As his chakra became visible and his eyes burned with fighting spirit, causing the floor to crack, Naruto pondered. After controlling his chakra, Naruto noticed that the first opponent to appear was a female. The girl gave him an energizing, exciting, and upbeat stare as she regarded him. The fact that she was a Zangief student and well-known in the fighter community for her beauty and abilities since her debut year was known to Naruto. Mika Nanakawa, also known as Rainbow Mika or R. Mika, was a Japanese professional wrestler who competed for the Iwashigahama Japan Women's Pro Wrestling Company. She received her training from the tyrannical Yoko Harmageddon and her idol Zangief. Mika had blue eyes and long, golden hair that was pulled back in 2 geometric pigtails. She wore white wrestling boots with white stockings, a white bustier with blue hearts on both bosoms, and a blue and white lingerie-style leotard with ruffles around the collar, sleeves, and leg openings. She wore flamboyant clothing to stick out among the wrestling circles in pools with more experience. She also tried to reduce the restriction in her arm joints caused by the exposed areas of her clothing near her elbows, shoulders, breasts, and buttocks. Mika was a vibrant, attractive young lady who took great pleasure in going all out and thrilling the crowds with her wrestling maneuvers. Even though some of her performances were a little shaky, she undoubtedly had the talent to make the professional tour. She looked up to Zangief and thought his strategy was the best. Mika was very honest about her feelings and spoke in a distinctive way, but it could occasionally be difficult to tell what she was thinking or feeling because of the mask she wore around her eyes. She was a very brave person who, despite being a little stubborn, often faced opponents head-on and boldly declared things like, "I'll kick your ass," before a battle. Mika also won't think twice to defend her friends. Had excellent relationships with her fellow Iwashigahama professional wrestlers and frequently engaged in sportsmanlike sparring with them. "I am gonna kick your ass, pretty boy," said in a cheerful tone as she raced at him with her arms extended to entangle him and get him into a chokehold. She moved at Mach 1, but the ground on which they were battling was unstable, and as a result of her movements, cracks began to appear. In her excitement to face the foe who had defeated her idol by accident, Mika had forgotten about this truth. Zangief had not yet engaged in a real battle with him, so she didn't think Naruto was more powerful because the other side was her hero. She attempted to use her legs to capture his neck, but Naruto saw her coming at him with ease and grabbed her arm to throw her. Mika was launched off Naruto by his leg as he recoiled, sending her soaring through the air and onto the roof. Mika exclaimed in a loud, animated voice as she soared and fired a ki blast at the opponent to knock her to the ground. As she was being pulled toward the roof, Mika grabbed the edge and pulled herself back. "Good acrobatics. I was very amazed. Too appealing to resist." Mika chuckled as Naruto grinned at her, and then he kicked her in the face. Mika swiftly blocked with her arm, falling to the ground with her arms stinging from the contact. "He is unquestionably very powerful. Get serious, Mika, he is more powerful than you." As he watched the fight unfold and noticed Laura appear on the roof, Zangief yelled from below. While Blanca had climbed from the building's side, Naruto saw his next adversary in Jaguar ascend the steps. Now that everyone had arrived, the weaklings had all been dealt with. When everyone in the Royal Rumble chose a single enemy, Naruto couldn't help but feel alive. His excitement was growing as the tension was fading. "I have faith in them. They are my folks. I'll do my share, and they can do it." To be continued.
That's it for this podcast. Thanks for listening to this video. If you did enjoy this part of the story, like, share, and subscribe for more. And thank you all for help and support, and have a great day.